Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to the second part of Super Sunday here on Apex Racing TV, as of course the SRF Weekend Warriors, no less, and different track surroundings today. For the first time in a very long time, we head to Sonoma Raceway. I'm Tim Cox, Charles Bashar joined us shortly, Josh Wilkie in the virtual production trailer, but let's take a look at the championship standings. Spec 1, Marco Panera leads. I think, well, that's been pretty much nailed on. I think time began. I think the dinosaurs hadn't even been invented before that one truly kicked in, and well, what a dominant display it has been from him so far this season. It hasn't been quite as dominant as what we've seen in previous years. Of course, did take the first win of the season back at Rudskogen. Can you believe that? Some 10 weeks ago. Followed up by wins at Summit Point, Sandown. What a crazy race that was. VIR, Netterton and Alton Park only 1 week ago. Can he make it 3 in a row though? Jason Green in second, and well, commanding second for him over Megan Overstreet in third. Yangshi Lin, I mean, if we had him all season long, just what could he have achieved? Dantas Castro, same for him. So unlucky, but only 4 points behind his fellow countryman. Thomas Renders lies currently in 7th with Wood, McCain and Favini running out your top 10 there. Let's head across into Spec 2 now. And it's Ian Gibson who's had his lead. It's just been being gradually nibbled at, but with 2 rounds left, including tonight. Can he be toppled by Joshua Justice? Remains to be seen. It's going to be a tall order for the young American. Paul Jackson lies in third with Phil Berry, Reese Fudderson, Caleb Pocock, Figlini, Johnson, Brackenbury and Healy running out your top 10 there. Across into Masters now. Well, it's Yorgmani leading the way by 53 points over our reigning champion Tom Gradwell. Chatting to him earlier on in the week, and like he said, you know, he's not the big name. You know, he doesn't always pick up the victories, but he's just Mr. Consistent. Always there and thereabouts. Adam Bradshaw, brilliant season from him in third, but he is only 6 points ahead of Brad Cathcart in fourth, who equally has 13 points behind him, Stephen Mitchell, who also has 13 points behind him, Kurt Nunes. Very, very tight over that fourth place, and well, even third, realistically. Jelly Long in seventh, Pritchard, Murakami and Bruce are going to round out your top 10 there. But Charles, we're saying, one of these circuits that just isn't really raced on iRacing that much. It's a bit of an odd one in some ways, but I mean, it's probably being a paid-for content probably doesn't help give it the moment in the spotlight that maybe it deserves.
Tim, you're absolutely right. It's growing up a NASCAR fan, this is this was historically one of the two road course circuits that NASCAR did every year. Is this and Watkins Glen. Obviously, Watkins Glen in upstate New York. This in the Napa Valley of California, NorCal. So yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think I've raced this track maybe twice, and I've been racing for 4 years or so. And it was just hosted events. It wasn't anything. I take that back. One official, one hosted. Because I think the old GT cars came here for a week, and that was quite fun. Obviously, the Corvette C6, a little more power than the Spec Racer Ford, so we won't see quite the speeds. But I think this is going to be a really dramatic race because obviously a lot of these drivers probably their first time on this track, maybe 2 or 3 at the most. So they've been out there running laps. I noticed Megan Overstreet during practice spent a good 10 minutes just working on pit entry to make sure she could get that right. So it's a very flowing track, lots of elevation changes, some tight corners, but it's a lot more medium speed corners than anything else. So it should be some really exciting racing.
I mean, you talk about that pit entry and also the way elevation changes, the way that it flows, it being more of a national circuit as well. It's very similar to where we kicked off the season back in Norway at Rudskogen.
Yeah, it does have that same feel to it. I think this is probably not as fast a track as Rudskogen is. I think it's a little bit tighter. Some pretty severe elevation changes. You can see Dantas coming through that section up the hill. There's some very tricky corners here. Obviously, the hairpin and this corner right here, you can see them. If you think that's fun, you should watch the NASCAR guys come through there. You're basically flirting with that outside wall every single lap, and if you get it wrong, if there's anybody behind you, you're going to collect a lot of cars.
Well, but also it's incredibly fun just flicking it left, right, left, just like you say, glancing blow with the wall, trying to keep it out of it, certainly in qualifying, so it doesn't delete your lap time. You can hear the amount of throttle application there from Evando Dantas, where he's really favouring it. But I think he's going to have that time to delete. I think he caught a bit too much of the dirt on the outside there, which we rightly pointed out. And then as we head past the drag strip, the start of it, get to start another flying lap. And it's always a tricky one for me. This is the part I struggle most with the circuit, Charles, because you're on the brakes. It's making the rear end go incredibly light, especially as you try and crest the curve. You can't even see the exit. And certainly this next right-hander, turn 3, definitely can't see where you're going at. You hit the apex, and a leap of faith, it's around there somewhere, and Dantas finds it.
Yeah, find that outside curve and just carry as much speed as you can. As you see it, see a car spun there. And so you see how close they're going to end up getting to that wall that just kind of juts out right at the end of the exit of that corner. It's gonna be tricky. Anything too wide through there is probably death. As we see going down through the S's, just sweeping corners. And you get a nice little run here. I think that's an off track as well. As you see him coming down here, and then you get this last where he's got to feather the throttle, carry a little speed. Yeah, there we go, and he's got it. And then down for this final hairpin to finish the lap. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The first 2 or 3 corners here are very difficult because of the blind apexes and the elevation changes, and just trying to crest those hills, and it's going to be some very tricky work for these drivers.
In terms of overtaking opportunities around here, I think look at the track map, Charles, and a bit of historic knowledge, as you know, I was mentioning, you know, it's been a long time since I've been here, well, raced here, shall I say. You're talking maybe even, maybe Forza Motorsport 1, I think, as far back as that. I know I'm showing my age. But I think, you know, for 7-Eleven, you know, obviously very conveniently, you know, after your every American's favourite convenience store there. But they look like the biggest overtaking opportunities, you know, for being, you know, just to get past those blind corners, hook a right, you know, 7's a bit more tighter, but then 11 into that horseshoe, but you can see right now, I mean, onto the brakes, last lap lunge.
Yeah, that probably is the best braking zone, is that very, very tight hairpin at the end of the lap. You know, I think a lot of it is probably going to be, it's going to be pressuring the car in front. So if you can get a good run through those medium speed sections and just keeping the pressure on the car in front, forcing mistakes, that may be the best way to make a pass on this track.
Well, we're not too far away from qualifying coming to an end, and we'll get to find out just how much of a hypothesis come true. Panero on top, much slimmer margins. Thomas Renders. We spoke to him, what was it, last week? I think it wasn't 2 weeks ago. But yeah, absolutely flying right now is Thomas, and we're having some Willow Springs. That's where we spoke to him. I lie. It's even it doesn't feel like that long ago. There he is, currently on the front row with Panero right now. Green, Marnie on your second row. Marnie top qualifier in Masters. Phil Berry top qualifier in Spec 2. He's 12th. Actually, he's got a. Well, if things stand as they are, Simpkins is second in Spec 2, and he's down in 18th. So Berry's going to have more of a comfortable time. No Ian Gibson. I'm just looking through. He is in here. Yeah, he's 28th at the moment, Charles. So he is well down. 10th in class, no, 9th in class, apologies, Ian. That's where he's currently sitting, 28th overall. But yeah, I mean, it's a long way up that, and there's a lot of Spec 2 drivers. It's a big cluster of them that he's going to be having to come through if he wants to secure victory here today.
It's one, that's like I said, you know, what we talked about, it's just this. You know, it's a little used tracks. It takes a good bit of practice to get the handle around this track. So it's not surprising that if you don't put the effort in, then you know, I'm not saying he hasn't practiced. I'm just saying that it's a difficult track to wrap your head around, and so you know, maybe he can work his way through. Maybe he's just not had a great qualifying run. As we see, I hear a car over on the wall there. So we'll look forward to see if he can make his way up through the field. I'm interested to see the change in positions from a lot of these drivers, and to see who can stay up top and who makes the mistake that maybe cost him 20 spots before it's all said and done. Because once you get off the track, you know, it's very difficult to get the car rejoined safely. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch this race. I think it's going to be a good race. I think we'll see a lot more. I think we'll see of quite a few more mistakes than we're used to seeing for the Spec Racer race. But we'll see, you know, as we find out as the day goes on here.
Well, check a flag out, and I think we're pretty much done and dusted. As much as Overstreet is out there, it's the second lap after the checkered flag has come out, so he's done and dusted. Same with it. Well, there you go. We're transitioning across now into the race session. And there we go, as it clicks its way through. You see all the daytime and such like adjusting. Should we take you through your grid? And, well, I've spotted, Charles, unlike that I did in the Formula Fords earlier on, that we've got a whole pace lap to do here. So we can afford to take our time. And that's good news, because big grids, as always, just the 48 drivers here today. Just 48. 4 wide into turn 1, like we saw in the Formula Fords prediction?
Oh,
maybe?
God, I hope not.
No, there'll be impending death if we go for that one. Marco Panero, well, he's on pole. Yang Shilin growing that late qualifying time to only 0.02 of seconds slower difference between him and second and pole. Demoting Thomas Renders down to row 2 with Jason Green. Jorg Marnie starts 5th next to Evandro Dantas on row 3. Marnie, of course, top qualifier in Masters, with Murakami on row 4 with Jason Perry. They've got West and Overstreet. West has really started to pick things up quietly. He's one to watch out for, I think, in couple of coming seasons. John Swartz, he starts on row 6 with Phil Berry, top qualifier in Spec 2. Then we're on to row 7, Kurt Nunes and Flavio Andalo. Claudio Gardini has Michael Nelson for company on row 8, with row 9 being Dan Wood and Who Simpkins. Caleb Pocock and Trenton Kramer make up the All-American All-Spec 2 row 10, and to round out your top 20. With Josh Justice, well, he's starting from a strong position with his championship aspirations in terms of Spec 2. Needs to really have a strong race today if he wants to stand any chance of standing on the top step of the podium come the end of the season. He starts next to Brett Cathcart, Norris Funnerson and Al Jonsson, another All Spec 2 row in row 12. Row 13 is Andrea Favini and Rick Wishen. Stephen Mitchell has Kevin Tierens for company, with Ian Gibson, your leader in Spec 2 Championship, starting next to Alan McCain on row 15, and that's your top 30. Row 16 is Paul Jackson and Andrew Lubb, Aaron Vogley and Chris Montgomery on race 17. Row 18, Stevie Ray and race winner from the Fallen Fords earlier on, Christian Kabanka, all the way back in 36th. Wow, with row 19 being Tom Laurie and Bradford Gould. Matthias Melhorn starts 39th next to Mike Knutson on row 20. Row 21, Gary Walbolt and Martin Nicolaus. Ryan Frey has Michelle Baglini for company. And then it's another all-American Italian row in the form of Jose Santiago and Gianni Longin. And it's an all-American affair on the final row. Jeff Horniak and William Visca. Interesting, those last 2 rows, none of them setting times in qualifying. I tell you what, the pace car feels like it's not hanging around today.
No, that force is moving on pretty well. Hey, I will say, can we toot these drivers' horns a bit here? Because you mentioned Thomas Renders and Willow Springs. I believe that particular finish of the race earned them, not us. We just happened to be there watching, but I believe earned them an iRacing top 10 moment. So shout out to all those guys involved, and lady, because Megan was part of that as well. She actually won the race.
She indeed, yes. It was a scintillating finish, wasn't it? That just flipped on its head in an absolute instant, and Panero went from leading to did he finish 8th because he picked up a late penalty there, didn't he?
I think he finished much further down because he had a 40-second penalty. Yeah, because he hit his incident limit because of the netcode contact with Overstreet. So I think he ended up finishing like 18th or something. So it was a very interesting ending and a very exciting ending to the race. And so hats off to everybody involved. To get the iRacing top 10 moment.
Well, pace car's in, and let's get ready to go racing for the penultimate time this season, as we are green and we are away, and Lincourt napping there, and it's all kicking off over second place right now, and they're free wide on the exit out of 1 as we head up the hill for the first time here onto the brakes. And it's a slam dunk nearly for Yang Jilin as he reclaims that place, caught floundering, and everyone behind him having to queue up almost, not to incur penalties. But Renders back up into 3rd, but Dantas up to already into 4th, getting past Green and Marnie in these opening stages. They make their way down the hill into 4. We could outlove the circuit, then we end up instantly pretty much at turn 7 on this track. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. We get to see who's making moves in these early stages, Charles. And, well, I think one incident, Mike Knutson involved in that. He's had an incident, but other than that, we've got away cleanly as the field stream their way through the S's.
Yeah, Knutson just got involved. I was going to say that we had Visca and Santiago did not take the start, but everybody else got away clean. But you're right, Knutson did get a little bit of contact, so he's dropped back a few seconds. And we've already seen some hard chargers up. Kabanka's up 4 spots. Chris Montgomery's up 8 spots already, and we haven't finished lap 1.
Wow. Panero already out to a 1.2 second lead over Lynn. Largely coming down to that start. Absolutely aced it. Caught everyone napping, everyone unawares in this early stage. That's could well give him the comfortable margin he's taken the victory. In fact, Linz, he's a good, what, 1.8 seconds clear of Renders that forms the massive queue that starts at third with Renders and ends in 30. Well, actually, no, Frey's called up now, so that queue ends at 42nd. Gary Warbolt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be one of those. And I think what we'll see as we're working our way through here, you see how close they are, is you'll see some cars, as we said, probably just miss a corner, get off in the dirt, have to kind of reset. They'll drop, way down the grid. But if they've got pace, if they're running up toward the front, they'll start working their way back up and making up those gaps.
There is Bobby West. He's not had the start, as you mentioned, down 3 to 12th overall, 9th in class right now. In terms of class gains, not really too much going on. So Gibson, not stop he would have hoped for. He's down 3 overall and down 1 in class. Just looking, Josh Justice remains 5th in class, 21st overall, so no change for him. Actually, no, he's just got past Dan Wood, I lie. So that's looking promising. And these are really, really strong results you mentioned before, Joshua Justice. If he wants those championship aspirations in Spec 2 and to take it away from Ian Gibson, he's pretty much, well, he's led Spec 2 since I can remember this season.
Yeah, he's obviously had a, a good run so far. I'm kind of watching the gap between Lynn and Pinero. It's kind of stable at like 1 second. So he got that early jump, but he hasn't really kind of pulled away. Oh, and now he's made a mistake because now that gap's down to a half second.
Yes. Well, this keeps things alive. It keeps things interesting for ourselves here. It's not going to be the Marco Pinero show where he absolutely walks away. Of course, Yoshi Lin, he's no slouch whatsoever. Let's not forget that fact.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, now it's up to the rest of the group to see if they can. That's been led by Renders, to see if they can make up that gap as well. It's going to be tough. These, obviously Pinero has been, a standout here in SRF for season after season, and then Lynn is just having such a great run this season. So it's going to be difficult for anybody else to try and make up that ground.
It's definitely going to be incredibly tricky, isn't it? Incredibly tricky. But it's down to 3 attempts now, Charles. So Lynn locked in, locked on, incredibly close behind Pinero. That gap already out to, 3.5 seconds. In fact, more like 3.7, in fact, to Thomas Renders in third. He's just been, rendered, excuse the pun, but he's been rendered completely just a loss, isn't he, really, compared to everyone in front of him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he's the leader of that pack or the cork in the bottle. I think it's a little early to tell yet. And we'll see if anybody's want to try and just step out and make a move and take the lead of that, like a Dantas or Green or Monty. Obviously, Green, he likes to just kind of stay there and save his fuel, save it for the pit stop. And then we know Monty doesn't. So and Dantas has had some really good runs in the SRF as well. So so we'll see what happens with this big group that's seemingly 30 cars deep, 40 cars deep.
I mean, you got to feel for it. Starts to, pretty much 3 seconds now as there's Bobby West. Oh, he's lost the place to Overstreet. Those two have swapped around and played a bit more cautious, although he is up under a lot of pressure right now. That's Phil Berry behind him. He's our current leader in Spec 1 category. Marty still leads Masters. Sorry, Charles.
No, I was just going to say, I'm just kind of looking at the timing tower, and it's like Alan McCain's had an issue way behind and off the pace.
Yeah, McCain didn't have the best qualifying though, did he? Which didn't really help him, get himself up on the good footing.
We get a good shot of Phil Berry. Good morning, Phil. So this is, I'm not sure this is what he wanted to wake up to, but he's having a pretty good run. Top of Spec 2, P11 overall.
So back, you can just see the queue behind him right now. That is Schwartzwell, was behind him, lunges in, and oh wow.
Oh, no.
Came in like a preacher, and there's a spinner as well. That's Claudio Gardini around. Sort of clipping the wall on the outside there. The wall between the track and pit road. Didn't quite catch who it was. I heard a big clunk.
I didn't see it either. Replay from Josh here.
That's what happened to Claudio Gardini.
So we see the lunge there. He just really just overcooked the corner. And then I think that was just a little tap as he tried to work the inside of Barry. And just kind of lost the rear there and had to reset.
Luckily, well, you've got the drag strip there on the inside. He was able to get up and running with no real, massive loss compared to if it had been grass or gravel. And no damage to the car, luckily as well. That's the crucial part. But he's only lost 3 places amazingly because of it.
Yeah. He got, like as you said, very lucky. That's just kind of an open. There's some barrels there, and so able to just kind of reset on the tarmac and get back up to speed, rejoin the track, and didn't lose very much when all said and done.
On board with Jason Green in the 160 machine. Put me out there. I was going to say 190 because that looks like a 9 in the middle. So we look down. So I mean, really free frame me, but working together this group, 5.5 seconds. They are losing a lot of time to the. Well, I would say that. However, looking at their times in comparison to the group ahead, Renders pretty much on a par with Lynn. It's come in the preceding laps, has the time loss, but I mean, Renders have remained consistent at 121 dead, whereas those in front of him are lapping 6/10 faster, in fact, in the opening stages, and that's what means on lap 7 why they are, in fact, now some 5.5, 6 seconds ahead of the following pack, which is spaced out a little bit. Good news, Charles. Third. Only through down to 9th right now in Megan Overstreet, but we've got a green plate in coming. Let's have a look. Darlow's he's lost a lot of, too much curb.
Yeah, inside curb and just lost the rear, unsettled the car. Did a really good job to not hit the wall. And then the car behind him did a really good job to not collect him. So able to reset and get back out on the track.
Those off-track physics have saved the drivers quite a few times this season.
Yeah, big pat on the back to iRacing for their changes to the off-track physics. Just been absolutely fantastic.
It's kept so many more drivers alive this season, and even with the shout, even with the fight, even with the chance of a recovery drive, and we've seen some absolutely, mesmeric recovery drives. Mesmerizing, sorry, making up a new word there previously, but yeah, mesmerizing recovery drives this season. Not only here in the SRS, but in the Formula Fords as well, to boot too. We had one earlier on, didn't we, in the hands of Jorg Marni. Back and forward to the back, but right now this could well be the change for the lead. On to the brakes we go, into the hairpin. Lynn on the inside. On driver's left of us right now is Marco Panero. Well, he played it very, very conservatively, and look how much time he lost, Charles.
Yeah,
6
he did.
tenths.
Yeah, he lost 6 tenths, and I think Lynn kind of lost the rear there on braking into that. I kind of saw him kind of adjust to, kind of open it. Kind of open the steering up a little bit to try and correct it, and was still able to pull a nice little gap after that pass.
Well, let's have a look at this replay. So this is what's happened to Alan McCain. Oh, he's all by himself. Is he going to drift out wide and smash into the wall? No, he's going to drift. He's going to clip the curve sideways. He avoids the wall. Does he avoid everyone else? Yes, he does. Wow.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that
Lucky.
curb, that was very lucky. That curb is, you know, we talk about the curbs in these cars. Sometimes you can get away with it. That's a really big curb. I've seen the NASCAR guys live there, and the NASCAR guys are just basically airborne as they're climbing that curb. So it's no surprise that you're getting kind of that same physics model here in iRacing with these cars. Just you have to hit it, you know, properly. It's kind of like those sausage curbs at Barcelona in the last couple of corners. If you've seen the F1 cars race there, how if they ever jump that orange sausage curb, it's basically they're two wheeling around the corner.
No, Battles play. Oh, Brad Cathcart in very early. So is Stevie Ray at the 12-minute mark. Maybe that's just showcasing where it's quicker to be out there in a bit of fresh air with heavier fuel. That's Kurt Nunez around. Saved it somehow.
Whoa.
But someone behind him didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, a
Was
little
that Caleb
sympathy spin.
Pocock?
I think so. Yep.
Wow. I'm not even sure. What
Yeah.
were you on about before then? I've completely lost my train of thought after seeing that.
There was a
Oh,
little
save.
contact there. No, I was just going to say Stevie we kind of expect in early because that's kind of his MO. But yeah, Cathcart coming in saying I need to get out of this traffic. And actually, you know what? It might not be a bad thing. It might be a good thing to just be in air.
Well, let's have a look at this because we're looking further ahead at Nunez. Let's have a look at exactly how it all unfolded for Caleb Pocock here in the 866 machine. I think it's arrived at the scene of the crime and everyone going slow throughout the anchors.
Yeah,
I lost the rear.
Just lost the rear, you know? Yep.
Funny enough, we spoke about it. Oh, who's that dancing into this? That's Phil Berry and Dan Woodin as they're all locking up into the hairpin.
This is, you know, we talk about the big grids here in the SRF race, and you see that because, you know, these guys are, as we said, tripping up over each other. You know, as they're getting into these heavy braking zones, some people are wanting to go a little deeper than others, and you kind of see the results of cars locking up, little half spins and full spins, and some contact. And so it's, you know, it's so far, I think it's been actually a very clean race. We've had a few little breaks here and there, but we haven't had a really big collection of damaged race cars. So I think everybody's doing a really good job and being very aware of the track conditions. As we see Lynn now in the lead still, but now Pinero's kind of working that gap back down, 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, it was 0.6, wasn't it? After Lynn made the move all the way back at the hairpin about 4 laps ago, wasn't it? Now and got it done. So we're got a replay coming in, and let's have a look at this one. So this is exactly how Lynn did it a few laps ago. Took the lead. That big dart down the inside. And Pinero just... Well, they're just running it in deep, but just ran it in a bit too far, didn't he? Tried to carry his momentum right around the outside, but where that... Yeah, that corner's on the drag strip. It is tabletop flat, so there's no camber, no banking to help, you know, draw the car around and carry that speed and momentum through the corner.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tim. That's exactly right. And so... yeah, it's just, you know, I think the race has kind of settled down a bit here as we're seeing the big, that was that Overstreet?
Well spotted. I was looking further down.
Yeah, I think that was Overstreet that kind of glanced off the wall.
She's got away with it. I mean, still running along.
Yeah,
so
I slowed her off this pack, and now she's got Swartz on right behind her, so she's still kind of in touch with this big group of cars. So yeah, I don't see any. Yeah, I can definitely see a little damage on the left front, but it looks superficial. Doesn't look like there's any wheel damage. She's able to just run at pace, so she can keep going. And I don't think there's a lot of drafting going on with this track.
Well, first off, Jason Green does a move on Dantas, and then Redner slow off the corner, and the Green It's looking like on a compromised line. Should be slow off the exit. Absolutely just sailed straight past him. And Delta says, well, if you're going through, I'm coming along too, Jason Green. And, well, you talked about, is he the cork in the bottle? Or what's exactly happening right now with Renders? I think maybe that might be your answer there.
I think you may be right. I think they said, yeah, we've rode behind long enough. We've done a little fuel saving, so now it's time to go. We don't want to get too far out from the lead two. So we'll see if it's up to Green to see if he can lead that pack back forward and make up some of that gap.
Oh, you say that, Charles. 7 seconds is the difference that Green needs to make up. We do have 23 minutes of racing left, and we know that anything can happen, anything will happen. We've seen dramatic finishes time and time again in this series, but yeah, that is a very, very tall order. The relentless pace. Those two are lapping out two incredibly, you know, on-form drivers right now, and there's Gianni Longin in front of us, just going round to lap him. As producer Josh saying that's in our ear. It's with Murakami losing his hood. Oh, there we go.
Yes.
I can't believe I called it a hood as well.
Well, I'll call it the bonnet if that makes you feel better.
Thank you. We'll balance it out that way. We'll balance it out. I mean, luckily, this is not a draft track, so
yeah,
hopefully this shouldn't affect him too much.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying earlier is that, yeah, there's not a lot of drafting here. There's some good straightaways, but just you can't really build up a lot of momentum to really get the draft going. So he should be okay. He may end up falling to the back of this train, but I think he should be able to hang with him.
Needs to be seen, doesn't it? Remains to be seen, but it's not going to be easy for him. Race Fenison into the pits. Well, so on pit exit now, in fact. There we go. So Phil Berry came out. Pits is probably early in the Triple Eight machine. Let's come back out in 32nd, I believe. No, it's 34th. Apologies. Well, the graph now begins, and is he in that bit of a bubble by himself? Well, pretty much. Just wishing in front of us. Needs to dispatch of him relatively easily, relatively quickly. Does have company, though, behind him, the form of Dan Wood, who's no slouch whatsoever. A bit of argy-bargy and pushing and shoving on corner exit there.
I think that was Simpkins. I think he got on the inside curb there and maybe locked the tires up. And then kind of pushed out and caused a little bit of contact with the 33 car there, I believe, at Gardini. Just trying to working through just Injustice and Nunez battling for 16th overall.
Wow, we're nearly at the halfway stage, seconds away from, in fact, Lynn, Pinero and Green are your podium sitters at the moment. Crane behind him. There you got Marnie.
I will say this, Green, since he's got out front, that gap stabilized. It was 7.2, and that's still sitting at 7.2. So he's at least managing to keep the pace even. They're not really gaining on the lead cars as well. I guess they are a little bit over the course of the lap. So at least they're not losing time, though. I think that's a bigger benefit.
Back from Marnie at Murakami's from bumperless SRF. So Marnie Murakami, obviously your top two in Masters, with Nelson down in 12th. That's currently on the podium. Then as things stand at the moment, we've got Kramer, Simpkins and Justice on the Spec 2 podium. However, got a very early stop from Phil Berry. So Chris Montgomery was behind Berry before Berry pitted. So in fact, I would imagine Berry should come out. Well, actually, is he going to? Is he going to? I don't think he is. I think Montgomery's going to come out in front of him. So that undercut, not looking. Actually, no, they have come out in front. Apologies.
Yep, just.
Well, in fact, they're side by side. Very, very nearly, very, very close between two of them around the outside. In spectacular fashion goes Wood.
That's a nice move on the outside there. It's very difficult to hang it on the outside there through turn one. As you said, just kind of flat. It's actually kind of anti-cambered, kind of drifts away. So it's a lot of work involved in trying to keep that car on the track there.
It's a thinking man's move, wasn't it, from the Mexican, is knowing that, okay, if I could hold around the outside pretty much, I'll have the inside for turn two proper, officially turn three.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a great, smart strategy and a great move. And we didn't talk about this, but we kind of saw it a little bit earlier. We talked about the kind of the pit entry, because it follows that hairpin, so it's a very tight curve in the middle of the pit entry, was surrounded by walls. So you have to be very precise. But then on pit exit, you're basically coming out right on the inside of the racing line, so it's very, very dangerous. We see cars just everywhere.
Logan just nowhere to go there whatsoever. And Murakami making it free wide, slotted his machine through the middle to keep in touch with Marnie. West bounced across the curb, and it's inflicted more pain for Overstreet, who's down to 11th now.
Yeah, Megan's kind of losing out here. It's obviously, when you're trying to get through the lap traffic, it's very difficult, especially on a tight, twisty circuit like this. So, she's still in the group. So, as we see, is that Longan coming in the pit, I believe? Or is that West coming in?
Where? Bobby West in?
It's West. Okay, so it's West coming in the pit. He said, yeah, I need to get out of that. I think it's pretty smart strategy there.
Well, I mean, this is going to be another indication. Has it worked out for Dan Wood and Phil Berry, even with that massive undercut? And a lot of drivers pitting early today. I mean, yes, I know we're 23 minutes mark, but even so, I mean, Charles, it still feels a little bit early, by a lap or two.
Yeah, it does, because I think a lot of the drivers are just content to ride till the fuel's out about the 31-minute mark. So yeah, it's we'll see if the strategy plays out to Barry's benefit, but it kind of feels like it's going to, because I think we get these big packs when you've got 46 cars on the grid on a tight track. You just kind of feel like if I could just get some clean air and I can just run my lap, I think I'll be okay. So I think that's his thinking, taking that pit early.
Well, there's Evandro Dantas. These two have pulled away. They've made a great effort. And if anything, they've started to bridge that gap ever so slowly to Lynn and Pinero. Not by much, though. I mean, you're talking a couple of attempts, but it is coming down. That's encouraging.
It is, yeah. I think like I think we said that Green's got some. Apparently, he's got enough pace to at least match the leaders' times, and I think they're content to just ride around until it's time to come to the pits, because we know Pinero is usually, top of the class, and Lynn is always very, very good. So this may be another VIR ending that we've got in store for us here today, which would be good, because we like good close battles to the finish.
We do. We absolutely love them. Well, I mean, he's going to take this one. I mean, Pinero's seems to have, since he let Lynn pass, he seems to have just been comfortable to sit there. Of course, these two qualified on the front row as well, and yeah, it's some. It's tricky to try and work out how this one's going to pan out for me. But Pinero on the attack here, right around the outside. Surely not going to make this one stick as he swoops down, but he's had to slow it up a bit more where he ran into her. Lynn holds on to it, but is he sizing him up right now? Is he working out, okay, this is what I need to do to take victory here today?
Yeah,
if it comes down to an on-track pass.
That's exactly right. You see how deep can I get into this hairpin and stay in front to get to that final run down to the start-finish line at the end of the race. So I think that was definitely a test. And so you will look for that move again if these guys are still in contact after the pit stop.
So we've got Schwartz, we've got Simpkins, we've got Johnson all into the pits right now for their stops. We're on lap 20, minute 26. 20's out of my mouth in a minute there, and well, the Dane, where will he come out? Still parked up stationary. That's just looking like a long stop for him as he's still stationary. In fact, now, yeah, 17 seconds. Very, very slow. Looking around about the 11 to 13 second, well, probably more 11 to 12 actually, looking at those that have stopped more recently. For drivers, possibly even, well, if it's, see how much you can string this one out by, possibly even, I reckon, more closer to the 10, even 9-second mark. Panaro in, though. Panaro's in from into the pits from second. He does not come with Lynn. Lynn carries on. What can he achieve with nobody harassing him and haranguing him?
Yeah, we'll see. I know Panero is one of those that it takes risks with his fuel strategy. He doesn't necessarily save, but he really tries to find that fine margin of getting just enough fuel in, and it's worked out sometimes and it hasn't others. So we'll see what his pit time is going to be, and then we'll start comparing that with other drivers as they come in. 11.5 seconds stopped. So that feels like that's usually what we would see somewhere in that neighborhood for a standard pit stop for these cars. But it's a little early, as you said. We're still a little bit earlier than what we would expect the leaders to come in. So, you know, we'll see how this all plays out.
Wow. Well, it play out okay for him. I mean, Murakami and West were supposed stationary for 10.9 and 10.4 seconds, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
Murakami stopped on the same lap. He was, what, half a second faster. West stopped on lap 17 versus lap 20 for those two. Lynn carries on, though, crucially. Drifting it on the exit out of the hairpin at 2.
Yeah, he absolutely, that was definitely a drift. He just was sideways that entire exit of that corner. Yeah, I'm looking through the timing tower. The shortest pit stop right now has been Schwartz, 9.2 stops, as we see Monty come into the pits.
That feels too short for me.
It does to me also.
So, you know, that gut feeling you get, you know, it's saying to me, you know, I don't think that's right. That's still too short. As you see Marnie into the pit, so's Mitchell. I love. So far, your top 10 haven't yet to stop as they are at the moment. Some drivers making up positions, but that's because they are yet to stop. Also, Kabanka, Tyrrans, Pocock, Vogley, Gould, and Darlow all yet to stop. Same with Jackson and Ian Gibson, who's, well, surprisingly, not having the best of races today as Murakami. That's actually a pass, isn't it? It's
Yep, it is. I think
Marnie was ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Because we were watching, obviously, Murakami with no bonnet, trying to stay in that pack, and so now he's got that stop early, and it's worked out for him. He's jumped ahead. He's the virtual leader of the Masters class once the pit cycle's done. In fact, he is the actual leader of the Masters class once the pit cycle's done, or still going on.
Dantas, Renders, Perry, Overstreet, Kramer, Gardini, all into the pits. From 3rd through to 8th. Josh Justice comes in from 10th place. Lynn still yet to stop. Green hasn't stopped either. Neither has Andrea Fabini. Your top runners and riders.
I don't know, maybe it was just a part of the track they were on, but Green lost like a second there and over the course of about 10 seconds of racing. So I'm just wondering if it was just because of what track section they were on, if it kind of flows that much.
Well, and also, you know, they're going to be coming across more and more back markers where the field now spaced out because of the pit stops. Kabanka, Tiernan, Svogley, Jackson all in as well.
Yeah, good point.
So this is where it gets... Have they pushed it too far? Are they now actually, although they're running with a lighter car, are they actually losing time? I mean, you can see how busy sections of the track is right now as in comes your leader, Yangshi Lin. Jason Green in too. Right. We're going to find out now. Has this all worked out for the Chinese driver?
So we're still waiting on 3 drivers to pit. Favini, Bradford Gould, and Ian Gibson.
Also, Michel Vaglini gets pits. Actually, no, he's just come in. Apologies. Favini's in, so that just leaves Gould and Gibson out on track. So there is Pinero. Lynn's still in his box. He's on the exit now. Well, yeah, there you go. It was too long. And Lynn stopped 14.5 seconds. 3 seconds longer than Pinero's. There you go, folks. I think that may well have just decided our race.
You may be right. It's either going to be that was too long by Lynn or too short by about half the field. So I think we have to say that that was just too long by Lynn, and that was a three seconds of lost time.
Guessing just 1 or 2 clicks difference. That's all it takes. Right, so there's Josh Justice. Now, where is Ian Gibson? So he's just heading out of the pits, and he's going to come out 11th in class, 33rd overall. But you know, he's still got he had one of the earlier pit boxes, so he could lose further places. He could drop to 12th in class, 35th overall potentially here. Although Jackson is some way back, so I think he should be someone else catching him. This will be a lot more closer than Gibson would have hoped for, but there comes Jackson at full chat through. Well, it's probably average out of about 5 seconds, I think. No, it's a lot less than that. It's 3.6, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much tighter. Yeah, so it's just now. It's just all right. Let's get the last 7 minutes of this race done. You know, Pinero's out to a nice 3-second lead. So now it's up to Yangshi Lin to make up that gap. So he's going to be running hot laps as best he can. As we see Pinero coming up on more lap traffic, that might play into this before everything is said and done.
I mean, so it's happened between Andalo and Vaglini. I think they've had a bit of a coming together. But this is going to take a lot from Lin. A lot. Pinero knows he does not need to push this one. Lin needs to take all the risks here. Pinero holds all the aces.
Indeed.
So, you know, he knows full well, okay, I'm being held up a little bit here. I can, by traffic, I can get into the pit stops. Mike Knutson ahead of him. So I can get into the hairpin, make the move, get it done, head off, and then it's single line bashing pretty much. And Lin will need to, I mean, pull out some conjuring magic realistically, because it'd be so hard to get the pass done. We can sort through all the tight technical parts of the circuit, which you do not want to be trying to pass someone through.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, I'll throw my own version of punt out there. Pinero is holding all the aces, but you got to watch out for the jokers on the track.
Love it. Love it. Or there's 2 jokers in the commentary booth.
This is true.
Yes, it is indeed sad, but true. But that's why we're up here and not out there racing.
Yeah, this may slow Pinero down just a little bit. There's a little traffic here in some of the tighter sections through that very tricky corner. One managed to get out of the way quite easily, but now you're in the S's. So it's going to be very difficult to make any kind of real strong passes here. So he's going to have to maybe just kind of hold up. That's going to give Lin a chance to maybe make up some ground. Yeah, you can already see it coming down. He's already picked up about 8 tenths just by being, not having the lap traffic in front of him.
Here goes Pinero up to the inside, onto the brakes, gets the move done in deep. Does he get it slowed up in time? Well, no, he doesn't, and he's going to lose out that place. That gap's down to 2 seconds now, Charles. 2 seconds. Yeah, 1.9, in fact.
Yeah. So now Lynn's got to just hope that he finally gets this traffic and can get through it much more quickly than Pinero. This is the only real chance of making that gap up.
On board with Lynn. He's having to
tight. Yep.
He's having to pass through the same traffic, though, that Pinero got held up in. Well, the same happened to him. I'm not too sure who that was, just darting out the way. Lynn in full attack mode, fully engaged now. Next up for him is long in. Is he going? There we go. Round wide. Lynn can sneak up the inside. Jobson. Right. How compliant is the next mark going to be? Which I think
now
is
he's got to get to this card. Yeah, he's got to get to this card. He's in that same section of track.
Is it Tom ahead of him? Yeah, there it is. Tom confirmed my it is. So Tom's pretty compliant here. He knows the score. He knows what's going on. He'll make it relatively easy. There you go. Just drifts out wide, takes the off track, but allows Lynn to pass through with relative ease. And the net result of all that, Charles, gap down to 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, he's made up almost a second and a half just by navigating lap traffic. It just took him a little longer to get through than it did Lynn. So now it's just Lynn's got to hope that we find a couple more cars on track that can tighten that gap a little more, or he can actually make up the time just on pace.
Bad news for that situation, Charles. The next car on track they're going to come up against is Gary Walbolt, who is approximately about 11 seconds up the road from Tom Lorry. So clear track in front of Panera, just needs to bring this one home, but that gap is coming down further.
Yes.
1.5 seconds.
Did we get a spin back there, or was that a wall?
Tom Lorry.
Yep. Yeah, so that was just another.
Oh, well, infuriated, lights up the rear tyres and spins it round even more, pointing in the wrong direction. And now,
I guess the good news is he can actually see the traffic coming, so he knows when he's going to be clear in order to get back on, get the car turned around, get back on track.
Oh, this is a cracking battle. Oh, no, that's Cathcart involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was just too wide coming out of that corner, and it looked like the outside car couldn't hold it and lost it, and just there's nowhere to go at that point. So.
Right, Charles, that gap's down to a second. Lynn is biting massive chunks out of Marco Panero. And what time are they doing? Okay, right, so this will not be the white flag lap. They will take the white flag next time around. There you go, personal best from Lynn. Last time around, 0.8 faster. Panero knows he just needs to bring this one home. But now I'm wondering, Charles, has he got enough fuel on board? Lynn doesn't need to worry about this. Panero is the one who needs to second guess it. He needs to question this fact. But if that's the case, that Panero doesn't have enough fuel on board, there's going to be other drivers out there who are going to be struggling and meeting exactly the same fate. But yet again, look, it's taking even more time. You can visibly watch that gap shrink.
Yeah, Lynn's got that car on rails right now, and you're absolutely right. If Lynn got it right, there's a lot of people that got it wrong. So we'll see in this last lap if we have just basically a parking lot off on the side of the track. But obviously Lynn's doing a really good job to close that gap. It's now down to 0.8. Really good through that hairpin. Tightens it
That's
up
where he's
even
dominant.
more. Yeah, he's really doing well there. Yeah.
Half a second. White flag in the air. 1 to go here from Sonoma. Round 11 of the SRF Weekend Warriors. Has Lynn got enough in the tank to make one last lap lunge here at Sonoma and clinch a victory at the death for Marco Panero? Don't go anywhere. Hold on tight. This is going to be a wild one. Lynn, you can see so much more controlled, composed compared to Panero, who's really feeling the pressure from the Chinese driver right behind.
Yeah, Lynn with the fastest lap of the race last lap.
Full attack mode, full E-engage right now from Lynn, who almost trips up over Panero on corner at entry there at the apex. So close, gap down to 0.2 now. They've got a clear run, no back markers are going to come involved, and well, you can see Panero just slowing them up a bit, trying to kill off that momentum, but Lynn is carrying so much more compared to Panero right now.
The last corner run down to that hairpin. Let's see if he's going to make that move to the inside. That's where he's been strong.
Oh, Panero comes tight. Very nicely done defensive driving, but is Lynn going to get it on the switchback? No, he's not, and Panero's going to hold on just about to win here at Sonoma in round 11 over Yangshi Lin. Not even a 10.5 across the line.
Wow, great defensive move there by Panero going into the hairpin. He knew that Lynn's been strong on the inside, and he basically just closed the door on it.
Wow. I mean, you have to wonder if he hadn't got the pit strategy one, just where he would have finished. Marnie wins Masters. Trenton Kramer's going to win Spec 2. Hello.
I hadn't talked about Trent Kramer all day, but great job. P9 overall, win Spec 2 class. Fantastic drive. Oh no.
Are you Simpkins going to pick up second place in Spec 2?
Murakami's dropping way down the order there. I don't know what happened, but
Is that I've run out of fuel? Well, he led Masters for so long, Charles, as well. That's run out. I've run out. I did say. I do have to wonder. Oh, so he's made it just across the line, just
across the line. His pit stop was only a half a second slower or quicker than the leaders of the race. That's how tight that was.
Well, you say leaders, then Panero, because Lynn was stationed for 3 seconds longer. So, I mean, he's got to have been. I think that's why that gap diminished. He just had to fuel save through that last section of the race.
Very, very possible. Hey, hats off to Swartz with that 9.2 stop to finish P5.
I looked to that at the time, and I remember saying to you, Charles, he's not doing that. That's impossible. John Swartz,
he made it work.
Well, hopefully he's got a humble pie in the oven, ready baked for me to digest after this race. I don't know how the hell he's managed that. I'm not going to lie to you. That's ridiculous.
And he's still running. He's still running. Yeah. Did an in lap all the way back around.
And he's not even chugging coming down the pit road either.
Yep. Jorg Monty with the Masters class win. Oh, great race by Lynn and Panero. That was a very classic battle. And it was very much what we expected from those two guys. They were class of the field from start to finish.
Well, let's take you through some results here from Road America. So from Sonoma, I'm reading my notes because I was trying to work out the Spec 2. How long ago since we've had a repeat winner? And still Road America there, so apologies about that one. Marco Panero takes you the win here today at Sonoma over Yangshi Lin. In the end, just couldn't run out of time, unfortunately. Next up in third is Jason Green. Then it's Dantas Schwartz with an impressive fuel straps. To short fuel and catapult himself up into fifth. Then it's West Overstreet. Marnie, your winner in Masters here yet again. That is his, 6 victories from 11 rounds so far this season. Kramer with his first ever victory, I do believe, in Spec 2, certainly this season, with you Simpkins equaling his best finish of second place of the season. That came back at Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago. Claudio Gardini, Dan Wood, Josh Justice third. That's his third place in a row in Spec 2, and keeping those championship aspirations alive here late into the season. Then we've got Phil Berry, Maurice Brunison, Christian Kabanka did well to recover. He made up a lot of places, 20 in fact, highest position climber here today. Astounding result from him. Vogelay, Kurt Nunes, who picks up second place in Masters. Well done to Kurt Nunes, who hasn't been on the podium since his win back at Sounddown in class. Alan Johnson, 90, friendly top 20, and last place on the podium in that Masters, and equaling his best finish this season, which came at Spa, was also a third. It is Michael Nelson. Bradford Gould, 21st. Kevin Tierans, 22nd. Then Love. Perry, Renders, Montgomery, Mitchell, Ray in 28th. 29th, we've got there's been a shuffle around post race. Ian Gibson, well, not hit what he would have hoped for here today. Gary Walbot running on top 30. There's Murakami, who ran out at the end. Gutting for him after leading Masters for so long this race. Then 32nd, last driver on the lap is Paul Jackson. One up down, we've got Longin, Knudsen, Melhorn, 2 ups down. Vavini, Laurie, Vaglini, and Nicolaus. Brad Cathcart, we'll classify him as 3 laps down. Then into retirement, Flavio and Darlow. We lost him on lap 23, so was Jeff Horniak. Lap 17, we lost McCain. Lap 14, Rick Wishen. Ryan Frey on lap 11, and Visca and Santiago did not make the start. Let's have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. First up, wow, I mean, quite all race. We didn't even spot him. I'm not going to lie. Trenton Kramer joins us now after picking up the Spec 2 victory. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
I mean, kept yourself. I mean, was that literally just your strat? Just keep quiet all day and hope that something happened. Just keep yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, you know, I had to avoid a little bit of trouble at the start of the race. I was faster than some of the drivers that I was around, so I was kind of hoping that I could get through and I could just get on my own. I had Jason Green and Yanshi help me a lot in practicing before this session. I wasn't even sure I was going to make it, so with my 2 laps of qualifying in, I was able to just kind of get into a rhythm and avoid a little bit of trouble, and I was by myself most of the race, and I was catching the leaders. I needed another probably 20 or 30 laps before I would have actually got up to them.
Well, you know, if we can go back and run it again, then hey, it'd be interesting to see where you would have come. That's for sure. But I mean, just other than that, just talk it through your race. I mean, as you said, didn't qualify too well. You finished 11 spots. I'm like 20th. Was it? I mean, just try and play much of a fuel saving strategy because you were down in that position, or were you going for it all the way?
Yeah, you know, I'm not really one for strategy. When it comes to the refuel, I always mess up like this time I missed the button to stop the fueling, so I ended up taking like an extra 3 or 4 laps. And you know, that's just to give the leaders a handicap because I was clearly gonna catch up to them, you know. And no, so I was just full sending it the whole way, just driving my typical laps. Like I said, I did a lot of practice, and I was just running the same number over and over and over again, and it was working out great because I didn't have to check up for anybody going into braking zones, didn't have to worry about back markers all too much. So it was really just a good clean race, just start to finish, just running it as hard as it could, and got lucky a couple times avoiding the wall on the exit of the hairpin. And other than that, it was just a great race overall.
Well, congratulations, Trenton, on winning it here today in Spec 2. And, well, if we see you next week at Road America, good luck for that.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Charles, I don't know. We need to make things as standard as always. Next up, winner in Masters, York Marley. Oh, hold on. I've dragged the wrong person up. There we go. Got it right in the end. I dragged Trenton back up.
York, Masters class victory, P8 overall. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. At least my 2 worst trucks are gone now.
I was about to ask you how many laps you've ran here over the course of your iRacing career.
Not many.
I think that's pretty much the answer everybody gives. This is we talked about it. It's not really a well-used track unless you run a lot of NASCAR. I think it goes there quite a bit, but it seemed like it was a pretty uneventful race for you. I know there was a lot of good side-by-side battling. You were in a group that had, Murakami and Overstreet and Phil Berry, and you seemed to just, worked pretty well to battle, but not, but stay off each other during the course of the race.
Yeah, except on the last hairpin when I touched the wall twice in 2 laps. So that made Chris lose his bonnet. And I was trying to call him sorry, but it was too late already. So he bumped into my back, and then
Well, we saw the end result of that. So I told Tim kind of as we were prepping for today, I was like, this was the one thing I wanted to see was one of the Masters class guys get the overall win, and you did it on a week that I wasn't even here last week. So because I had to go do team stuff, so I didn't get to do it. So congratulations for the overall last week, and congrats on the class win today.
Thank you, Charles, and thank you again, guys, for the awesome broadcast. Thank you.
Next up, we've got Jason Green joins us now, 3rd today. Jason, I mean, Thomas Renders, we couldn't work out at times whether he felt like he was the cork in the bottle or with you guys just couldn't seem to take the pace today to Yangji and Marco.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Thomas was lapping doing pretty good lap times. And at some points, we were actually catching Yanchi and Marco. I don't know if they're playing games, trying to fuel save when they're in the lead, but yeah, Thomas was actually doing really well. I might have had a couple of tenths on him, but not that much, and it was very difficult to get past Vondro and Thomas while in the draft train.
We just watching a replay of the start right now in slow motion. It all got a little bit bunched up, a little bit chaotic. Obviously, Marco really got the jump on Yangji, and everyone was left sort of floundering and queuing up. You were stuck right in the middle of that. Did you feel boxed in? Did you get a bit nervous going 3 wide into turn 1?
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely not confident in that corner. This is probably one of my weaker ones at this circuit. So yeah, I think Yanchi got caught out a little bit, and the green hadn't dropped yet, so I couldn't pass him. So I was just sat in behind him, tried to give him a bump draft to try to get out of that situation. But yeah, luckily I think everybody made it through. So.
And then obviously we saw yourself and Evandro get past Thomas Renders. From that point onwards, did you really look back? I mean, were you able to do much fuel saving behind Thomas, or were you just full chat all the way?
I didn't get to do that much fuel saving when I was behind Thomas, because just the nature of the draft train here, you really can't let off at all, or else you're gonna get gobbled up by the people behind you. So yeah, it was pretty much full send the whole race. So it was a lot of fun in that aspect.
Well, congratulations. Great to have you on the podium as always. That is Jason Green, who finished 3rd here today. But well, that's all we've got time for from Sonoma. Thank you very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox with Charles Bouchot and Josh Wilkie, and we'll see you in a week's time for the season finale at Road America. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.